As you can see, I now have the Hilux with me back at home, and I'm ready to start putting all the final parts back on the car so I can get the Hilux back on the road. What I think I might start with is these brand new belt molds that I've got. They are straight out of the box, and it's going to make the car look all nice and fresh again. I'm of course going to get Luna's help to get it all done. Let's get started. It's now time to reinstall the door handle, and I'm going to be starting with this driver's door. Firstly, you want to make sure these little rubber gaskets are on. Grab the handle itself and slide it in like so. You then want to grab the key barrel, and on the inside there you can see there's a little 4-point bit, and on the very inside, hopefully this shows up, you want to line those two up. So the handle and the key barrel is in, the end cap. You want to get your T30 bit, line it up with the bolt, and I'll always like to put a slight little bit of pressure on the front just to make sure it lines up. Before putting the rubber cap back on, it's always a good idea to make sure the handle itself works, which it does. Another good idea is to make sure the key barrel is lined up properly. Here, door handle time now. First, you want to make sure you have your gaskets on. As you can see, there is a Torx head going through to lock that gasket in. I'm going to begin with dropping this lock. Start by unplugging the central locking and removing the T30 Torx bits. After dropping the lock, you can see a T30 Torx head. Begin by grabbing the handle itself and sliding that in. Like so. The little nub right there, so that has to line up with a plastic section. You can see it's pink here. That plastic section has to line up with the latch in order for the handle to work. So this is an important step. Loosely put some Torx head bolts into my latch, and I'm just going to test it before I properly tighten it up. I'm just going to flick that closed, and then I'm going to pull the handle, and the latch pops out in place. And just like that, 4 doors done. On to the next thing. Before I put a lot of parts back on the car, I'm just going to give them a quick clean up with some wax and grease remover, starting with these little rubber bump stops. So I'm not far off being finished here. What I've got left is the main grille, but I'm going to give that a repaint before I put it back on. The Toyota decal on the tailgate, but I'm going to wait for the paint job to cure a bit more. And of course, the fender flare. I'm going to start by gluing the rubber seal on it now before fitting it. So that's a bit of a fiddly part, but must be done. All 4 flare seals are now glued on. I'm pretty happy with myself. I only managed to glue my fingers together like about twice. Now it's time to fit them to the car. One flare done. Had to do a bit of extra drilling to make some adjustment to get it to fit a bit nicer. But yeah, I'm happy with this one. And now on to the next. Done for the day. Sadly, fitting those front flares took a bit longer than I would have liked. I think that's probably the downside of buying aftermarket stuff off eBay. Luckily, I had some Sikaflex on standby. I've got them glued in place, so by tomorrow they'll be perfect. It's now been 2 weeks since I finished the respray on the Hilux, so now it's time to finish it all off. Got the grille here. I'm going to start by painting that. This main part of the grille I'm going to paint in satin black. The badge I'm going to do in a gloss black just to give it a nice bit of contrast. Let's start with that before moving on to the tailgate decal. Love the look of a satin black, and the more it dries, the more it'll sort of dull off, but it'll still keep a little bit of gloss compared to like a matte black. And while these 2 grill bits are drying, I'm going to now move on to the tailgate decal. This is my tailgate decal, and I must admit, without it on there, it looks super bare, and I feel like it's pretty much a staple of a Toyota Hilux to have it on. Now, I have done this once before on a mate's Hilux. I'm still super nervous about stuffing this up, but at least it's on my own car, right? The aim is I'm going to lay it on the tailgate, use bits of tape to hold it in place so I can measure it up, make sure it's nice and straight, nice and center, before I start peeling the backing off and laying the decal down. Now it's time to peel the backing off, and I'll be using this applicator to rub the decal on and get rid of any air bubbles. So fingers crossed it all turns out all right. Decal all done, and the grille is now back on the car, so I'm completely finished my Hilux Respray. Really stoked with how everything turned out, so much better than before. And now hopefully the car is good for another 360,000 Ks. Can't believe what I managed to achieve in 3 weeks. Kind of feels like a bit of a blur to me, to be honest. I was just on such a mission to get it done and get it back on the road. With how good it all looks at the moment, I'm pretty nervous to take it off road and take it on a full driving trip, but I'm sure that will pass in time. I'm going to be wrapping up all these videos here. If you managed to watch them all and watch the whole process of what I've done, what I've achieved, then thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Now to roll on the clips for you guys to check out what I've actually done. So enjoy and see you later.